I love doing color work. I love it in knitting, and I also love doing it in my crochet. I thought it might be useful for me to go over kind of my general plan for managing all of the yarn while I'm working on it. I personally prefer to do intarsia for all of my crochet work as much as possible. My preference is to have a piece that's identical from the front and back. On the back here, you can see that I haven't woven in my ends yet, but if I pull them up, you can see that it is the same on the back as it is on the front. Another thing that I do while I am working is I crochet over my ends as I go. This means that I don't have to weave in quite as many ends at the end. Most of these I can just cut off without any repercussions or any worry of it unraveling because they're already woven in. They're currently just left long because 1, I'm lazy, and 2, I just want to go over and double check every single yarn, make sure it's as secure as it could possibly be before I do finally go in and cut it. Now, for actually managing the yarns, I do technically not just do intarsia for the entire thing. For this section here, the brown sections are so skinny, I'm just carrying the white underneath it because overall it's not going to affect the piece. I think this is a pretty good example because for all of these larger color work sections, those are just intarsia. I work using these bobbins that hang from my work. When I'm working with my yarn, I basically just take the working end of the yarn out of that slit, unspool a little bit, and pop it back in. That way I can let go of it and it can dangle and it won't come undone. Because I'm doing such a large piece with such a large low weight background, the white yarns are actually still connected to the full ball of yarn. And I'll get to how I deal with all of my full entire balls in a moment because that's its own system. As I work across the top of my work, I will flip the yarns over just to help keep everything organized, keep everything looking neat. I can keep an eye on my work. Here, I just wanted to show what I do when I pick up a new yarn and then what I do with the bobbin while I'm working with a new color. So I pick up the new yarn here, unspool a little bit so I have a length to work with, and flip it to the back. I like flipping my yarn to the back while I'm working because that's the direction that I pull my yarn from. I also find that as I work across, it's a bit easier to keep track of my working yarn. So it'll look like this and the bobbins will flip over as I go. All right, next we're going to get to how I actually have all of my yarns while I'm working on them. I actually have all of my yarns set upright and set up to be center pulls. They are held in place by each other in a box, and this means that there's very little resistance when I'm doing those center pulls, and I can kind of get away with removing the center of a ball of yarn for longer because it's being supported by the other balls of yarn. Once those balls of yarn collapse, they do get wound into a yarn ball and then put into a bowl, so there's also very little resistance when pulling the end. I am very annoyed by anything that slows the process down unnecessarily, so having all of these methods helps me to make things just a little bit faster in my daily crochet life. That's kind of just a general overview of how I like to organize all of my yarn while I'm doing color work. If you're wondering about the patterns for these bugs, I'll let you know when I release it. I'm planning for early next year, but we will see. All right, that's gonna be it.